and welcome back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Mikey the Freak. And Bebo.
Bebo?
Bebo.
Hello!
Today we are going to be discussing the movie The Matrix. That's right. There's a new one coming out, so we're going to talk about the original. Bebo, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Matrix?
So The Matrix, basically, guy is a, office working, just hates life type of a guy, basically. But he's a hacker on the side. He's looking for someone named Morpheus. And basically, he gets contacted by the guy who tells him to, follow white rabbits and stuff like that. And he sees a girl with a white rabbit tattoo, follows her to a club, and just ensues this whole thing. And basically what happens is he gets told that, he's living in a dream world. He gives him the option of, staying with life the way it is or seeing how deep the rabbit hole goes. And he decides to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, ends up waking up in basically a people farm. And gets flushed into a sewer because he woke up. They pick him up, and he has to realize that the real world is basically in the future where we've blocked out the sun. Machines have taken over, and they're trying to fight against the machines and wake up these basically engineered people that are being used as batteries. And it's just him trying to realize that the reason why Morpheus woke him up is because he's the one. There's always a legend of the one who was sort of made, from the Matrix and can do things that other people can't. And you slowly get to see him learn that he's the one, and he starts believing it. And you can tell he's a little different than most of the people there, but it's a great movie. What are your guys' take on it? Let's start with Mikey.
I've always enjoyed The Matrix. I thought The Matrix was hard to follow at first. A great opening sequence. One of the best opening scenes,
yes,
by far. And to kind of elaborate some on their counterparts. The second one as well. Same just out there explosions and kind of like, yes, I want to watch this movie. So such a great opening scene. When he finally believes he's the one, which becomes pretty remarkable to see through his eyes in the hallway, when you see the difference between the three agents and then the walls, that binary code, I guess you could say it is, or encode, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really binary code.
Everybody knows what you're talking about. Is the green numbers and letters
the green
falling,
thing.
Yeah. At one point, everybody had it for a screensaver. So
absolutely,
yes,
on
absolutely,
phone, on your computer,
yeah, it was everywhere.
Everything. That was probably the most downloaded screensaver of 1999.
Yes.
But I think that the movie was a great end to the era, the 20th century. Moving into the year 2000, I thought it was one of the best movies of 1999. Just with the action and how he's stopping bullets. What the shit? How do you do that? Right? But that scene there was pretty epic, when that was that turning point to where he says no. And he just he stops the bullet, takes the bullet, drops it. And the epic, I guess I'd say the epic scene, but what I thought was really badass is when he jumps into Hugo Weaving's character, Agent Smith, and explodes him, and just kind of has that and then
the whole
building is like expands and then comes back in and
that was really cool.
And that look up with with that after he closes his eyes, just has that like I'm gonna kick your ass type thing, and then they take off running.
Yeah.
They kind of know with a computer system, the Matrix knows like, okay, we're not going to be able to beat this guy. We've got to go. So a great turning point. And then the way they end it with him flying was like, holy shit. Well, he's Superman now. I don't get it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So the stop action scenes, probably one of the first stop action scene movies I think that they did that I can recall, which is your opening scene with Carrie Ann Moss as Trinity and jumps up and stops.
Yeah.
That scene has been parodied so many damn times between cartoons and parody movies and all that stuff. So I really think that that's probably one of the first stop action scenes that we've ever seen before.
It was done well, at least. It was done
very done. Yeah. And then they do it a couple more times in the movie, kind of that anti-gravity fight scene with him and the Agent Smith in the subway shooting at each other. So another one of those stop action scenes. So great type of movie when it comes to action and so forth. But yeah, what do you think, Bearded Geek?
Oh man, I thought that this movie was, just nonstop from the beginning to end. I mean, when you have a move that is called the Matrix now, to this day, when somebody says do the Matrix, and you know what it is, it's bending backwards and doing the dodging bullets type stuff, which I can't do. I'm an old fat guy, but everybody knows what that is. I mean, and then just this movie, you never saw stuff like this before. Like I said, from the computer falling, screens, and it kind of made you think, like, could we actually be in the Matrix now? I mean, why does this cup feel cold? How does the computer know what cold feels like?
Why does everything taste like chicken?
It's like chicken.
Yep.
That was the best part of the movie, where he says, well, the Matrix the computer system don't know what everything tastes like. So that's why everything tastes like chicken. I like how it was like, holy shit, that's right. Everything does taste like chicken.
I like how he says, you remember eating tasty wheat? And they're like, technically you never ate it.
Yeah. Like technically never did you.
Yeah, you never ate it.
That's one of my points.
Yeah. and the dude Cypher. The dude is a dick. I mean, he's a straight dick.
Yeah, Joe Pantoliano.
Well, he's a Fratelli, so what do you expect?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Almost everything he plays a villain.
Almost, like I think the only
but every movie he's in seems to make magic like gold, though. So he does have that.
True. Yeah, he has that
going on in Hollywood. Everybody feels like if he's in the movie, that the movie's going to do really well, because most of the movies he's in does do well. But
and I will say
he was great as a villain though in this.
Oh, he was.
Oh yeah.
He was. Yeah. I mean, I almost didn't recognize him from some other movies. I'm sure Mikey the Freak may have him. I don't know if Mikey the Freak has him on Related Rules or not. But
no, I didn't do it, Joe.
He was in the Goonies. He was in Bad Boys, and like I almost didn't recognize him in all of them, because his look totally has changed throughout all of those movies.
He was almost punk in this in a way. He had the earrings to go to, like even the way he dressed and stuff was just, like that. But I agree. Yeah.
Well, everybody in this damn movie is emo when they go into the Matrix. I mean, you're wearing a raincoat and you walk in and then you come shoot. Oh, that scene was amazing. When he walked through the metal detector and he just like.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite lines in the movie, is whenever he goes like this and the guy goes, "Oh shit!"
Yep, and he just starts blasting people, and then all of a sudden you hear the ding, and
ding.
What's her face comes through the thing, just blasting people.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Trinity. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, great movie. Well paced, shot extremely well, especially for back then. The technology that they used,
and for like what was supposed to be going on in the movie, I thought like went well. Like everything was segmented well throughout the movie. And I feel like you were mainstream jumping from one thing to another a lot, and it was very much a good storyline, like all the way through.
Right. It was one of those movies that if you missed something, you probably had to go back and rewatch it. But if you watched it the first time, I think you could grasp it. But you would want to go back and rewatch this movie
Oh, yeah.
multiple times.
Absolutely.
I watch it every single time it comes on.
It's a great movie. All right, Bebo, how about giving us your score on it?
For this movie, I'm kind of looking at it more of like for the type of movie it is, when it came out, the special effects, things like that it had, plus the nostalgic. I would probably rate this. I'm gonna put it at about a 9.5 for me. It was overall a great movie. The special effects, especially for that, and like Mikey said, for this movie leading us into the 2000 era, it really lets you know like what was going to be possible coming up for movies. Because this kind of broke like all standard, special effects. You got to see all kinds of stuff. Really him dodging the bullets, I thought was awesome too. Where he's just going backwards, and you just get to see the bullets going by real slow, but you also get to see the ripple effects from the bullets. Yeah. But also, one of my favorite scenes is watching the helicopter hit the building, and the building exploding in a circle going outwards.
Yeah, you see it kind of contract and expand and contract real quick, and then it explodes. And
it was just all around a good movie. It still holds up to me today. The only downside to me for this movie, which is why I probably wouldn't give it the full 10, is even though the fighting in it is awesome, I feel it's very telegraphed. Like you can see it's very slow motion, like, it's very just like this. It's not the fighting that we're used to seeing in movies where it's really quick. But it was a great movie. What about you, Mikey? What's your rating?
But my question would be if I would wonder if the fighting was supposed to be like that because you were in the Matrix. Like what was there something behind that is basically what I'm thinking. But either way, my score, best opening scene by far of any movie I've ever seen. Action packed. Realize that Trinity is not a woman that you're not going to reckon with. She kicks all the police officers' asses.
She'll kick all of our asses.
So great opening scene. The cinematography was unbelievable for 1999. The stop motion camera stills that we talk about with him dodging the bullets and jumping up in the air, running on the damn walls, to fight, really shows that in the Matrix, anything is possible. And I think that's kind of what the Wachowski brothers wanted you to believe. And I agree, just like Bebo said, I think for coming out in 99, this really set the bar high. For the 21st century. And just Hugo Weaving being probably one of the greatest villains, out of the trilogy, of course, but he played a great villain in that. Very
Mr. Anderson.
Very to the point. He knew what he wanted, and then he started to go a little rogue when he tries to interrogate Morpheus, and he takes the earpiece out. So he disconnects himself from the Matrix itself. So you can kind of see where his character might go, but of course, when he explodes at the end, you're like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work how we wanted to. But to me, I'm giving this movie a 10 just because it's a movie that anybody could watch it. I'd say almost of all ages, but there's action. There is a storyline. You kind of want to know what happens at the end of the first one. You're like, oh yes, they need to make a second one. I want to see a second one. We saw this in the movie theaters, and literally people were standing up and clapping when the movie was over.
Yeah.
It was that good in 99. And, and it came out the same time as Star Wars did. So episode 1 in 99. So, it had a lot of, I'd say a lot of competition that year, but definitely hands down for the a huge Star Wars fan and the Matrix. I still think hands down they'd go see the Matrix again before they go back to see episode 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they've already watched them both, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, because episode 1 wasn't the greatest, but the Matrix still holds water to this day. So absolutely a 10 from me, hands down.
Awesome. I enjoyed this movie, like you said, from beginning to end. Some of the fights you were talking about the fight scenes earlier. I enjoyed the fight scenes for what they were. And there's some things in this movie that I want today. Like, I wish I could download like kung fu, jujitsu, kung fu.
I know kung fu.
How to fly a freaking helicopter in seconds. Just download it into my brain.
Look, I want to say real quick. We talk about the fight scene. I don't know if you're going to mention it, but the funniest and the greatest action. There you go. That's it. the greatest fight scene is he stops the fist and he just goes. I was like, did you just do that? Like, so you would practice that. You'd be like this.
Yeah.
You practiced that shit back then.
You saw the growth of Neo from nothing to, being the one. Him struggling to fight, Agent Smith, and then at the end he's just fighting him with one hand, just with one hand behind his back, just sort of whipping his ass. I give this a 9.5. I can't give it a full 10. Back to the Future is my only true 10, so I'm gonna give it a 9.5. But this is super close. This movie definitely kicked off, 2000. It was the perfect movie to go right into the 2000s with. The effects that they use in this movie hold up today. Like, I don't think you could go back and even remaster this movie and make it better. Like, this movie is so well done that it's I don't want to say perfect, but it's almost as perfect as you can get for an action movie like it. So like I said, 9.5. Bebo, do you have any trivia for this movie?
Got a few bits here. So one thing I thought was very interesting is Will Smith was actually approached to play Neo. But here's what made me laugh. He turned it down in order to star in the movie Wild Wild West.
Okay.
But it's still a cute movie. I like Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
It's a cute movie.
But he actually did admit later on that at the time he was not mature enough as an actor, and that if given the role, he would have actually messed it up. He said Keanu Reeves did an awesome job in it.
Yeah,
I don't think he was.
I can't see Will Smith doing some of the fight scenes.
No.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but I don't think he would be like, if this movie just would have came out, even given his maturity, being older and stuff, I don't think he would have done good. I don't even think he would have done good as like Morpheus.
Yeah, Will Smith is still a great actor. Like,
I don't think this would have been his forte at all.
No.
One thing I didn't even like put together, and this was just kind of an interesting thing, is that in the first 45 minutes of the film, Neo has 80 lines. 44 of the lines are questions. So it means that he's averaging roughly one question per minute in the first 40 minutes.
Whoa.
And speaking of the cool fight scene there where they walk into the lobby with the guns and everything like that. At the end, after everything's done and they get in the elevator and the door closes and you see that one piece of the pillar fall, that wasn't scripted. That was just something that happened when they were doing a still shot of that for the ending, and they liked it so much they kept it in the film.
Oh yeah, it was good.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect, but it wasn't something that they had planned on happening. And just another thing is that opening scene that you love so much, Mike, the opening action scene took 6 months of training and 4 days to shoot.
That's
so
it
just lets you know how much went into each, fight scene and each type of, what they had to do to accomplish some of the stuff that went on in this movie.
Yeah, guys, the stuff that these actors go through, they earn their money. It's absolutely incredible. 6 months. It took because you were saying 6 months to shoot that scene. Some actors go through 6 months to a year of training just to film a movie for less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy the amount of training that they go through just to get a part. And sometimes they do it on their own and they don't even have the part yet. Mm-hmm. But they want to show up and be the one that they pick so they don't have to spend money to go through training. It's crazy how the amount of shit actors go through just to make us enjoy these movies.
Yeah.
I know. I went through years of eating to try and be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the Ghostbusters remake, but no, they went, all CGI and bullshit.
You were too young.
Yeah.
you were 4.
Well, I got some. I'm an
overachiever.
Retro movie memorabilia here. You could pick up Matrix Morpheus style sunglasses because they have no frames. They just clip onto your nose for only like $10. I've always wanted a pair, so I may.
They were very popular back then.
I still may end up getting me a pair of those.
Unfortunately, my nose is so crooked that if I got it, they would just constantly be at this angle.
Mine would be like up here on my forehead.
You could pick up a Hot Toys The Matrix Neo 1/6 scale for $500, or you could pick up The Matrix comic book. It's a preview. And it was recalled because it was a lot of what's the word? It was rated too high. Like it was a lot of it was too graphic. I'm sorry. So it was recalled, and this is slabbed at 9.8 for $994.95.
That's not bad.
No, for a slabbed comic and a recalled comic, that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, there's probably not many out there either.
No. Mikey, do you have any related reels, sir?
Yes. I went with 3 of the main characters. I did go with Hugo Weaving, which played Agent Smith in the movie. You all know him definitely from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which has put him back on the map. He's been in the Matrix trilogy, and why not do a Lord of the Rings trilogy? Let's keep it in 3s. I think that he just got suckered into 3 movies and they signed a contract, and then he was stuck for the rest of his life. And then for you Marvel fans out there, sorry, Bearded Geek, he was in Captain America, the first Avenger, as Red Skull.
Yeah, I was about to say he was Red Skull. Yeah, right.
And he was a villain in as Red Skull. Too bad he was not available for Endgame. And for so it kind of worked out. I think he did a pretty good Red Skull. Carrie-Anne Moss, also a movie called Memento. Very good movie with Guy Pearce. She plays a great actress in that one. And she was also a Marvel character as well. I'd say a character. She was Jerry Hogarth in the Jessica Jones series. And she actually made an appearance in Iron Fist, Daredevil, and The Defenders as the same actress or same character, because they were basically those Marvel shows they were all related. And then I did go with Keanu Reeves, of course. So I didn't really go out in left field with Keanu Reeves. He has so much stuff out there. Mm-hmm. Such a great, I'd say a great actor, but he has done some great movies out there. One that I always liked, of course, is Bill and Ted. Mm-hmm. What he's known for. Don't watch the new one, guys. Face the Music is straight trash.
I don't know. A lot of people today may know him more for John Wick.
Yes, I have John Wick on here as well. With I think there's 3 now. I think, right?
Yeah.
There's three.
Yeah.
They're doing he's doing the fourth one now. The fourth one in this Matrix thing, I think we're supposed to be being shot around the same time.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then also a great movie back in the day too, Point Break.
There we go. I was waiting for you to bring
I was
that
hoping
up.
you were going to do Point Break.
I loved him in Point Break with Patrick Swayze. It was such a great movie.
Johnny Utah.
Yeah, plays a cop. I was gonna go with Speed.
No, Point Break.
He didn't get casted in Speed 2 because he said, "Screw it, I'm not doing it." But Point Break's a lot better than Speed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Speed 2. It was probably a good choice.
Yes.
Yes, it was. It was. He's like, I got to do the Matrix Resurrection. I'm done. Or Revolutions, I'm sure. So yeah, that was the three actors. Some great actors in this movie with Lawrence Fishburne, but didn't go too much in there.
You didn't want to go Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Also in John Wick.
Well, I was gonna go with Pee-wee's Playhouse. I was going with Pee-wee's Playhouse with Lawrence Fishburne. I'm like, some people might remember him from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Didn't he have Jerry Girls back then?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. As we come to a close, I want to make sure if you like this video, give us a good old thumbing. Like, subscribe. Tell us what you'd like to see. Make sure it's 80s, 90s, because that's the genre we like to stay in. But if you make a suggestion, we'll definitely watch the movie if it's streaming somewhere and give you a review on what we think of it. So I do believe that does it for this episode of Back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. So for Mikey the Freak and Bebo, keep it retro, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.